All right, we're going to continue our recording. We were interrupted. Technology failed us a little bit here, but that's all right. We're going to move right on. Verse 6, Daniel 3. And whosoever falleth not down and worship shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. Therefore, at that time when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, the flute, the harp, the sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshipped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Verse 8. Wherefore at that time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews. They spake and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. That was their greeting. Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, the flute, the harp, the sackbut, the psaltery, and the dulcimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso falleth not down and worship, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, whose names Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not their gods. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Verse 13, Then Nebuchadnezzar in his rage and fury commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. And Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, Is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, the flute, the harp, the sackbut, psaltery, and the dulcimer, and all kinds of music, you fall down and worship the image which I have made, well, but if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy God, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. These are men with conviction. Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should be heat the furnace 7 times more than it was wont to be heated. Get the fire much higher. Hotter, hotter, hotter. Verse 20. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent and the furnace exceeding hot. The flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego. And these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Did you get that? The people that threw them in the fire was so hot, they burned completely up. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who were bound and put in the fiery furnace, listen, verse 24. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished and rose up in haste and spake and said unto his counselors, Did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, True, O king. He answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. Yes, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire, and the prince, governors, and captains, and the kings, the counselors, being gathered together, saw these men upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was an hair of their head singed. Neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. Isn't that amazing? Verse 28. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and who hath sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and have changed the king's word and shield their bodies, that they may not serve nor worship any God except their own God. Therefore, I make a decree. Now, people of the Lord listening, I want you to know the importance of this verse 29. I make a decree. This was the old wicked king that had these men thrown in the fire. His name was Nebuchadnezzar. He said, I make a decree. I'm reading from the King James Version. Daniel, the 3rd chapter. 3rd verse. 29th verse. Therefore I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other God that can deliver after this sort. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. Father, we thank you for the reading of your word. We thank you for the listeners. Oh my God. May we have that type of commitment that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego had. That we will not bow to wicked, demonic spirits. We will not worship idolatry. We will have no other gods. We thank you because the same power that you gave those 3 dedicated men, taught by the prophet, the interpreter, the man we know, Daniel. May we today take on that new conviction of obedience to have no other gods, that we will worship you. And it won't just be form and fashion. It won't just be the outward man that looks good, the outward persons, but from the inside,